Last year, Zwift Academy opened its doors, launching a groundbreaking worldwide talent search to find the next pro rider for Canyon SRAM racing. The competition exceeded all expectation. Over 1,200 women from 51 countries signed up to take the challenge in Zwift. In a truly grand finale, on the island of Majorca at Canyon SRAM's training camp, Leah Thorvaldsen of Little Rock, Arkansas, was crowned 2016 Zwift Academy champion and the newest member of Canyon SRAM Racing. This year, it could be you.
Oh wow, I could have a shot at a pro contract, but it's for anyone. It's a huge step forward in your own fitness, and so it's not all just about the one person who's going to get a pro contract. It's a win for everyone who's involved.
Zwift Academy is this great program where Zwift is trying to get the women more involved. It's just this huge, to me, a great community. There's women coming up going, I get how this could fit into my life.
What I think is so nice about Zwift Academy, I really think that it was inspiring lots of women to take part in this adventure. Maybe they've gone far beyond their own expectations.
How far I got in Zwift, there were 1,200 females that joined, and there were 100 females that finished Zwift, and I can't believe I was one of them.
Yes, it's hard. Come on, you can do it, you know, just do your best. Because it's not just the physical side, it's the determination and to boost your confidence in anything else you do, not just cycling.
Find out how strong you really are. Find new friends from around the world. Find out if you have what it takes to go pro.
Do not wait, just follow your dreams.
Be the best cyclist you can be. Head over to academy.zwift.com to find out more and sign up today.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Tour de Oz Stage 2 out on Zwift. Riders are out on course already. They're going to be doing 6 laps of the classic course today. We are going to be covering the C and the A category both today. I do have both of the races in front of us. Looks like we had about 150 racers showing up to the race today for the C category, and about 90 racers jumping into the race today for the A's as well. Part of the motivation today for that is thanks to Wahoo, they're going to have some amazing prizes actually that will be given away just for participating in the races today. Pretty exciting. We do have the A races, it looks like here now, taking off and heading on over into the little bit of underground here and on over toward the classic course. Out of the 89 here, we do have D Jin actually there, I believe an Olympic rower there, making his way toward the front of the group, actually 4.0 watts per kilogram, making sure he does not get himself caught out at all. Henchman is there as well out of Denmark, along with Van Spinach, always one to be watching out for from Innovation Cycles there. We do have Jay Creel there from Vision Cycling. He won the first stage, I believe, in this Tour de Oz. Now, looks like, here's the thing, is that for this series, you do need to show up to every one of the races, I believe, in order to get into the giveaway. So it is 10 stages, and it is in conjunction with the Tour de France. That is the idea here, is that during the Tour de France, they're doing a Tour of Oz, Tour de Oz, the tour of the land of Oz here, and they need to follow that yellow brick road on over toward the prizes and hopefully get lucky enough. We'll see if there's anything behind the curtain here for Jin, though, as he heads off the front there at 11 watts per kilogram now, and Henchman trying to make things not actually closing anything down there. Actually, Henchman sitting in 4.0 watts per kilogram. Does look like Sing here out of Taiwan, though, riding for ECT, is making his way to the front. Rosser is here as well, 6.0 watts per kilogram, 160 beats per minute. Now, real quick here, for those of you who may be unfamiliar with what is going on here, this is a virtual cycling video game. So it is actually people, real people, pedaling right now as you are watching on their trainers from their houses right now, or from wherever their trainer is set up, putting up the power that you are seeing above my head here, actually 164 beats per minute for Rosser here, right along with 95 RPMs and 335 watts, watts being the measurement of the power that this rider is putting out right now, actually. Just like you're lifting weights in real life, so you may be lifting 50 pounds or 100 kilograms or whatever it might be with your legs when you're doing squats or something like that. Watts are a verifiable measurement of power. Rosser here, coming out of Australia. He's in Australia right now. Well, maybe. Wherever he is in the world right now, he's got an Australian flag next to his name. He's putting out 308 watts, trying to hang on to the front group here. You do see it stretching out now. And those watts then are what powers the avatars forward from the legs of all the riders, actually. So rather than controlling with your hands with a controller, you are controlling these avatars and pushing them forward with your legs with actual verifiable power from an actual power source that can be a smart trainer, a power meter, or a speed sensor. Smart Trainer is going to give you real world feel as well. On the flat course, they won't feel it too much, but definitely on the uphill into Trafalgar Square that we just saw, as well as the other hill that they will use each time in, they will most definitely be feeling the gradients there if they are on a Smart Trainer. The most accurate would be a strain gauge power meter usually. A few Smart Trainers do come within about 1 to 2%, though claimed 2 to 3% for some of them. Maybe not 1%. There isn't even strain gauge power meters that really claim that. Does look like Van Spinach did make an attack up and over that little climb that we were talking about. Got a 1 second gap, but wasn't going anywhere just yet. The Spocker there coming out of Great Britain in an early morning ride there for him. SGA out of the USA with a late night or super early morning ride now, making his way to the front as well. 4.0 watts per kilogram coming from Tour Oz. Brazil here, it looks like, for 153 beats per minute currently. We'll have to watch out for Ardorna maybe, as he looks fairly calm at this point still. Does look like Barnett then as well for Team AHDR. We do have S. Johnson for Team AHDR as well. A lot of AHDR boys showing up. And as you can see, nobody has or is able to wear their team kit because they all get put into the Wahoo Kicker kits. The reason being is because they are a sponsor of the series. and are putting up some awesome prizes for anybody who does complete the 10 races out on Zwift here. Does it look like SG is going for the sprint? Now for the sprint section here, as you can see on the left-hand side up above me, he'll be able to grab a jersey here perhaps if he has the fastest time amongst the rest of the riders. 11:47 looks like to be the time. 11:55 coming from the innovation boy there, Kay Leonard. We have an 11:82 then also from L. Lee. That's your top 3 in the sprint section, and SG did grab the fastest sprint for the day. Now if he, well, for the event, excuse me, if he was out in the open world rather than in the event, he would put on a green jersey actually, and could don that jersey for 1 hour straight unless somebody had a faster time than him out on course here. Leonard now going with a counter attack after SG kind of broke things apart here. He's got 2 seconds on SG, and they've got 4 seconds over Wiseman, Race WBR, and the rest of the group here. Actually looking over his shoulder, look at that gigantic group, but it's actually been split up a little bit from this kick, as you can see here. Moving back just a little bit, let's go ahead and see who's biting the dust off the back here, as we do see the yellow brick road or red brick road here out on the Tour de Oz is starting to shed a few off the back. Some are going to be stuck amongst the lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, Harding here 18 seconds now, as you can see off the back for Harding, as well as it looks like Aikib and Sparks. And moving up forward just a little bit, we can see up toward the front as they take this left-hand turn. You can see their avatar slow way down on that corner actually. It is a great place to attack actually, because you can kick super hard out of the corner, gain a ton of speed, and everyone has to do exactly the same effort, well, about the same effort to get back on terms. But it does look like Leonard now is caught, or at least 1 second between him and the rest of the riders here. So we're looking back through here, and we're going to see we do have chat up over at the Mixer channel as well as the Twitch channel. So if you would like to chat with me at all, I can see what you guys are saying, I believe, unless my Mixer chat is going to keep being a little bit fussy. Yep, there we go. So Nathan, I am getting a little bit of chat here from E-Motivation. Nathan told me about this site. It looks pretty good actually. Never knew it existed. Good to see E-Motivation over at the Mixer channel. Sate Atin, Daisy is saying, I wonder how that comes through on the Singing True. It says Singing True for our captions there. It's crazy how accurate the subtitles are though, especially with how much I mumble. Big Mac D. I am going to go ahead and check out the social media integrations. If you are over at the Facebook or on Twitter, you can go ahead and bring in any of our tweets that are tweeted at us. We can bring those right on in here. We do see Zwift did give us a tweet. Thanks a lot, Zwift, for that. And we can bring that right into the broadcast. If you guys would like to also interact with us, here's a good example of exactly what that looks like, actually. So Wahoo Tour de Oz, there's a little bit of the promotions graphics for that. But as you see, the Zwift did do at Z Community Live, at Z Community Live, not at Zwift Community Live. That was too long of a name for us to be able to grab, but at Z Community Live, and you can go ahead and get into the broadcast actually. Looking over back at the C category race, though, we definitely want to make sure to cover that. That was actually the largest race out on course today, and it does look like they have a solid number of racers here. 150 started, and looking through up toward the front. Actually, I'm going to bring this in here because, and actually I forgot to put the subtitles over here. I'm sorry about that, guys. I will maybe be able to get them in before we finish here, but it does look like the front end of this race is being dominated by a few AHDR boys. They're putting on a solid 3.6 watts per kilogram, 4.2 there up at the front as well. W. Zastro, Newman is in there, Haywood, Williams, and I believe this is the front end of the group. Bunyan is there right along with Gassman, and then Newman, Florentine, and you can hear the crowd cheering him on as about to take the left-hand turn around these barriers, and a lot of times this is where a couple of kicks may take place. You see it breaking up maybe just a little bit. 1 second back to the back of the pack, but not going much of anywhere there, with Bunyan now up at the front coming out of Australia. So actually look at all the Australian flags. We do see a couple of Japanese riders there as well. A couple of riders coming out of New Zealand as well. We do see it. We can see B. Williams here out of New Zealand. There's also anybody else not Australia. Taiwan is represented here with Sisu. And then it does look like German rider getting an early morning ride in. Well, I'm sorry, not an early morning, but a morning ride in for W. Zastrel. Keep thinking that it's 4 a.m. like it is here in the US of A. T. Yoshi is here out of Japan then, as well as Mikori. And then a whole lot of Aussies have shown up for the Tour de Oz, as it should be. Still up at the front, though, Stop Whining. I absolutely love this guy. We were talking about this guy a little bit, actually, at the last one. I think Stop Whining was in the top 3, actually, in the last race. It is calming down a little bit, so let's get back on over toward the front end of the race with the A category. See if I can actually add in those subtitles to the other broadcast there real quickly. It should be just a couple of clicks, but up toward the front here, oh no, don't do that, thank you very much. And right back with the race there, Dijin now making his way to the front. Does look like the Taiwanese rider here, Liang Hsing, riding for ECT, now sitting pretty in the group, looking toward the back of the race, though. It is 6 laps, so they got quite a ways to go still. Nobody going to be making too many attacks. It is definitely going to be a tactical race with so much flat out on this course. It's going to be the climb every single time. We did miss it this last time. Doesn't look like it broke off too many riders. I think the main group has been decided. It's going to take a little bit of racing before anybody goes much of anywhere. Do have D. Martin here from KRT, though, falling off along with Jay Freeman, just a little bit off the back. 169 beats per minute here. 5 seconds is the difference. SG out of the USA. He was attacking off the front earlier. Actually, he might be suffering a little bit from having that green jersey. Now going again, actually, falling off the back. Maybe just looking for the draft, actually, in order to get more of a kick and try and have a faster time through the sprint. I have a feeling that might have been what he was looking for. Did not time things correctly, though, and make that happen there. And it does look like he'll be right back on terms with the rest of the riders. 149 beats per minute. Up toward the front then, watching out for Innovation now with Leonard. Jin, always one to watch out for out here on Zwift, has won his fair share of races. But Creel is the man that won the first stage, so definitely watch out for Creel. Rooney, though, the mountain biker coming out of New Zealand, I've had to deal with that boy on the flats before, and he's a strong rider. Not as much kick on the uphills, but definitely has a kick on the flats. So I'll be watching out for Rooney as well for the final finish if he's able to hang on throughout the rest of the race here. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can add up our special new, and that is not what we wanted to see there at all. So add up our special new HD. There it is. We got it. Now we just need to move it to the right place, and we should be good to go for having also captions on the C category race. So there we go. And they just changed size just a little bit. So that'll be the only difference, is they'll be a little bit different in size now. They are making their way up over the top of the climb now in the C category, as you can see. No headphones at work, no problem. Absolutely love it there, Johnny. Thanks a lot for the tweet there. Really good to see Johnny tuning in. We do see T. Steer, excuse me, and we said that this would be the moment to watch out for up this climb, and he's going away on that Tron bike, 3.7 watts per kilogram out of Australia here. Gasman trying to follow it up at 5 watts per kilogram or so. We do see it looks like Mavrangelo is there, as well as Haywood all together now. It is a 4-second gap, but this is going to be dangerous here at 4.3 watts per kilogram. On the front, we see 3.5. It's always really difficult, though, to get away from the group. The group is much, much faster than the rest of the riders who are independently riding all by themselves. So because of the drafting effect that is in the game of Zwift, anybody who is drafting on another rider will most definitely get a advantage, as they have to work a lot less than the guy or gal who's on the front of the pack. And as you can see here up toward the front, 3.5, 3.0 watts per kilogram or so. 6.9 here coming from Leenberg. And this guy, Bruggen, Junior rider here, Kicking it on the Go-Go Power Rangers, closing things down to Binzi coming out of Japan. Now Binzi being caught very quickly there by Newman from the AHDR team. All right, right back with the boys, though, in the A category. As you can see, they are most definitely making their way toward the climb in Trafalgar Square. We missed it the first time around, but let's see if there are any attacks. And yes, there most definitely are. They like to loosen up the legs prior to hitting the climb, actually. If you leave it to the climb, it's not quite long enough. It's a very short climb. So if you do some attacks prior to the climb, loosen up the legs, soften up people just a little bit before you even climb up and over the top of the climb, you actually can get more of a gap if you have people going with you and you actually sit on some wheels, get some draft up and over the top, rest up a little bit, open up a gap, and then the other ones have the other riders who are trying to close that gap down have a much more difficult time to hang with any kind of attack that you do throw at them. You do see a couple of the really strong men from actually the E-Crit series here. Shaw, well known in the E-Crit series now. Jin as well. Leonard is there as well. Tozer, Scott Cunningham. These are all riders that have been showing their worth actually in the E-Crit series. And now, as you can see, they might have closed down the gap here, a few riders, but they would have to put themselves in the red to close down that gap because they're putting out more than 5 or 6 watts per kilogram to close that down. So they may be able to hang on, though. We'll have to see. ISO Way Sports here with P. Shaw, who he's riding for, it looks like, in game there. And now looking over their shoulder, a couple Tron bikes here, really well experienced riders. That's what that means, because they've climbed 50,000 meters to get it. And now 7 seconds back still, Van Spinach still. I'd be watching out for him to close this down very quickly. We do see Turksma here, 8.7 watts per kilogram out of the Netherlands now. And as you can see, these riders who did attack don't have quite as many watts to attack off the front. But Scott Cunningham threw it in the orange numbers, throws down that arrow power up, which keeps his avatar moving at an extremely high speed, reducing the drag on it right now. The dragon. Nope, it's the drag. There, it got it actually. Amazing. So Leonard here now 3.6 watts per kilogram. With Jin now 4 seconds back, they may be able to hold on to this. It's all about for how long can these boys make the chase for? Are there enough matches to burn amongst this group, or will they fade for this chase, and will the cream rise to the top here of this crop of riders? Now it is only 4 seconds though, actually 10 though. Now we can see the Dorna. So SG now trying to close it down, attacking out of the group. 4 seconds is the difference. 5 seconds though back to Dorna. So he's all in his lonesome here, attacking out of the US of the current fastest sprint out on course right now, I believe, still with SG with 11:47. But does he have the fast legs to close this down and be with the break group, which is Turksma here with Innovation, K. Leonard rider here, D. Jin, as well as Shaw. And then it will be Scott Cunningham in there. SG is about 3 seconds back. He closes this down right now. He's going to find himself among some of the strongest out on Zwift from the land down under, as well as the Netherlands. And I'm not sure on Scott here. I'm going to have to look that one up over at ZwiftPower.com. Johnny Numbet says, I'm loving those transition wipes. Wow, Johnny, you might have a little bit of bias there. But now looking over at the social media integration here, we can see Johnny saying, no headphones at work, no problem. Go Zwift at Z Community Live, sneaky subtitles. Watching over at the... now, don't get too distracted at work there, buddy. Hopefully your boss isn't tuning in as well. And we do see Kev Stevens saying that large numbers must be a kicker up for grabs after the 10 events. Yep, most definitely. James New is saying, what is the biggest racing team in Zwift? That is a really good question. I believe WBR was absolutely huge. Team Z and WBR was so big. I think Innovation is growing very quickly as well. There's been a lot of people moving around. The team out of Iceland is absolutely huge, though. So is the Swedish team. And I would have to take a look over at ZwiftPower.com to figure that one out for you, actually. So we'll see if we can find that information. I would look up the teams. There's a listing of all the teams actually over at ZwiftPower.com, and you can actually probably see that over there. Now, the funny thing is that Zwift is not anywhere in any captions whatsoever. So we're always going to have Taylor here in the broadcast. All right, we do see Van Spinach right along with Liang Sin here now making the way off the front. He grabbed that arrow power up. He's actually looking for the double RNG, I think, here. He closed down half the gap to 4 seconds there. Can he keep on going? He's bringing it back to 3 now. 34 miles per hour here coming from Van Spinach. Only at 4.0 watts per kilogram. 29 here from this lead group. Brought it back to 2 seconds. It's only 30-second power up. Can he bring that last little bit? 31 miles per hour. He's going to grab right on to the back end of this group or lock onto a few riders being lapped. That would be absolutely horrible for him. Actually, he did get caught out by those riders that were being lapped. 4.0, 4.4 watts per kilogram, 182 beats per minute, was unable to close it down. Now we do see the Spocker now coming on by with his own arrow power up. A couple more there trying to make that gap, close it down. It is only 2 seconds now, but they're still going. They see them coming, so DJ makes his way to the front. 5.9 watts per kilogram. Turksman's there, 5.0, sitting on the wheel. But it looks like Scott Cunningham, Turksman, Pishaw will be able to hold on to 2 seconds still. Around the corner, they're going to have to kick again because a few riders around this corner most likely will throw it into the highest wattage they can to close this gap right now. Dorna now in the Tour Oz there out of Brazil trying to close that gap. 1.0 watts per kilogram coming from Creel. Creel trusting maybe that somebody's going to close this down for him, and that's why he did not go with it. We'll give him a ride on right along with M. Lees. Give him a ride on that Go-Go Power Rangers. Watch out for him. Spocker's there as well. 171 beats per minute. Just grabs onto the back end of this group. Let's go ahead and take a look, though. Where are things at? As we look down from the top view here, you can see that the gaps are most definitely still breaking apart. That elastic is snapping. People are unable to find the wheels or just barely find the wheels right in front of them. And as you can see, they're just barely able to hold on. No one's coming around too quickly. Now it's all back together, and it looks like the impetus for these riders up at the front is most likely going to be taken out. No more motivation for them to hang on to their lead, as it has been shut down by the chase. And it was all instigated by Van Spinach with that arrow power, which then instigated another one coming from, I believe it was, who's actually Dorna, I believe. And then from there, it was GG, all back together. But a counter right now would be an extremely intelligent move, actually. And a counter right now would loosen up the legs. It would actually really put some hurt into a lot of these riders who have already been the strong men out on course and been able to close things down. Anybody who's got any match to burn right now would probably be able to open up a gap very, very quickly. 1 or 2 riders get away from right now, and I think they could open up a 20 to 30 second gap. But I think at this point, everybody has shown what they have out on course, and I don't think anyone's going much of anywhere. We do have one rider making his way to the front, Van Spinach, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to attack at this point, as he was one of the boys who shut down that initial group off the front. It's all back together here. We're going to open up zwiftpower.com and see what is happening with the riders here for their average watts per kilogram, as well as the C category riders, as they are making their way into the, where are these guys? I believe they're making their way on to the straightaway toward the start finish line here. We do see one rider off the front, Jay Williams, actually 15 seconds off the front, actually in the C category. Does look like he's faded down to 10 seconds though. Drew Jin uses Vegemite energy gels. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Pete Donahue says. Interesting comment there, Pete. That was an interesting way that came through. So Drew Jin, bam. He's saying he uses Vegemite. All right, so here we're making our way to Trafalgar Square now. This is the only climb out on course. Look at all the feather power-ups. People are suffering at this point. Nobody's holding on to them, actually. Maybe they're just looking for arrow power-ups, though, through the next time on the lap. Whenever you're holding on to those feathers, sometimes you want to get rid of them and roll the dice to try and grab that arrow power-up, actually. Scott Cunningham up at the front now. Nobody really with any kind of motivation looks like to attack, except for Jin, who is on those Vegemites, according to the man himself there, Zwift Fitness, Pete Donahue, over at the Facebook. So he's using the drafting power up, actually. That's kind of interesting, looking for a wheel somewhere. Gets a little bit of a gap. Not sure it's going anywhere, as Dorna throws it into 5.4 watts per kilogram. Has plenty of riders to work with him right around him, it looks like. So I think it's all going to stick together out on course here today amongst this lead group. Pooh is over at the Mixer channel. Good to see you there. I'm not even gonna work on that one. It looks like you're pretty good at this. You should ride real bikes. They're actually all riding real bikes there, boy. I'm gonna call them I'm not even sure what to call them, because even like P and P, it doesn't sound right. I'll call them P and P. So P and P, they are all on real bikes. I do ride a real bike, not to humble brag or anything. I'll just let maybe chat deal with that. And it looks like eMotivation is chatting over there. James Hodges saying Zwift Power Stats, most races by all riders. Number 1, BRT is number 1. Team ODZ, then the KISS Racing Team, then Team TFC, and then Team PTZ. Those are the largest teams out on Zwift in that order. Bailey Bengals, how's it going over at the Mixer channel? Good to see you hanging out in the broadcast. Nathan can do wheelies. Nathan can do wheelies pretty well. These guys are all actually riding real bikes. Just so you know, there's actually 604 watts coming out of SG's legs right now into that avatar to move it forward at 34 miles per hour in the game of Zwift right now. So this is actually controlled by riders actually pushing the pedals on real bikes right now in order to race each other with real draft that is dynamically algorithmed out into some amazing equations to produce different kinds of speed for the power and the weight that they have in the game. Currently at 8.1 watts per kilogram. SG is absolutely killing it out of the USA. Being chased down from this guy out of Taiwan, though. I'm here. Actually just being lapped there, so actually not being chased. But we do have, it looks like Egan's there right along with Rooney and then Johnson. And it looks like just a little ways off the back. Nope, it's all still together, still super tactical. One rider actually falling off here out of Taiwan. It will be, we'll call him E, right along with a random, just barely hanging on randomly on the back here. 7.4 watts per kilogram. Can he get back on terms there? 167 beats per minute. Doesn't look like that heart rate wants to budge. Now 168, 500 watts. Will he be able to close this down is the question. We do see him up and out of the saddle there. There is the gap now. There's another gap, though, off the front, as we do see more riders making another attack. They do not want this gigantic group. It's absolutely not what anybody wants to see who wants to try and roll the dice on a sprint finish. It's got to be brought down to a lot less riders than this in order to bring your chances up on taking the W. Otherwise, aero power-ups and the correct timing from somebody who just has enough of a kick will be able to grab that top spot. Up toward the front now, Creel here, winner of the first stage. 2 seconds up with Shaw. Shaw, though, on the front there with SG. I think they may be able to pull this in. SG just throwing down 5.6 watts per kilogram. Around the corner they go. There's the chase. Who's going to kick out of the corner? Jin makes his way to the front, 5.1. Dorna is there as well. The speed is 22 miles per hour. It looks like Mackenzie, though, right along with 21-23. Anybody going to fall off from the slowdown, though, is the question. Doesn't look like it. Everybody's got a wheel to draft right now. And now we do see eMotivation saying, I used to be able to do wheelies on a mountain bike, but now it is too hot to bike in Arizona. That's hilarious, buddy. So, Rogers, I appreciate your comments there. Brett Corbet, good to see you over at the Facebook channel on Zwift Community Live. Good to have you there. Right back with the C category riders, though, it does look like we've got a couple falling off pace right now for the C category. I do see it is P. King here, 8.5 miles in. There's also Jay Williams, who was off the front and now off the back, it looks like, after the attack off the front. Moving our way forward then, 121, 122, now 23 seconds up. We're seeing H. Higley now, right along with G. Hoy. And then it will be K. Starling. B. Martin is in here as well, 12.8 miles in. Moving up a little further, Haywood, it looks like, right along with Gosling. Liam Bruggen, though, is leading things out, 1.9 watts per kilogram. It looks like this may be the front end of the C category, and it is still breaking apart. These attacks are little by little whittling things down, but it is still at least a group of 30 here on the front end of this race. Looking over their shoulders, lots and lots of riders still involved here in the C category race, as well as in this A category. We'll give some shout outs here. Ledge from the ADHDR. We've got Clemperer as well out of Australia. Sisu there out of Taiwan. A. George G. Hoy as well. Gaspin's there still hanging tough. It does look like we have Norquay as well as Binsey still hanging in. Haywood there from AHDR. Stop whining. Still making sure people are keeping it thankful out there out on course. And it does look like, I don't know how thankful they're going to be as well as he is throwing down some big wattage at him still, though, and hanging amongst this group. He did really well in the first round, so we'll have to watch out and see how this works out. 150 riders that showed up for the C category today. Jin, the 3-time Olympic gold medalist, that is him out on course. And the way that you know that it is him is go ahead and check this out. As you can see next to his name there's a little badge. And that badge means he is verified as the person that you would think it is in real life, actually. All right, now kicking it one more time in the Trafalgar Square, we got the A category riders, 15.9 miles in total. They're doing a total of 23, I believe, today. And let's just double check those numbers. We'll take a look at the title here real quick, because Nathan has a short-term memory loss. Maybe 23.3 miles is most definitely what they are doing. So they're going to have about 3 more laps, I believe. 3 more laps, is it, out on course? And the riders, well, 2.5 out on course still. And Turksma here, 4.1, right along with Bester and Random, making their way toward the front. Let's start looking at some of the past results for some of these riders. And as we can see here, ZwiftPower.com has some amazing live results, as well as an entire listing of all of the races that all of the riders have done, actually, out on Zwift, that are registered and have had their races recorded with ZwiftPower.com. So as we can see here up toward the front, SG looks like his best result as of recently was an 11th. And he's riding for more power, actually. 11 races out on Zwift, out of the United States. Took an 11th. Took a win, though, back on the 7th, actually, of July, just 3 days ago, in the WBR 4 lap. Looks like 4th in the TNT, presented by Team ODZ. So watch out for maybe SG. He's got that killer sprint that we saw just a few laps ago. EVR Americas, which is going to be a hard race to win. He got a solid 3rd place back on May 27th, it looks like, as well. So watch out for Mr. SG if he's still hanging in there. Might have fallen off, though, through that last time up the uphill. Out of the Netherlands there, Turksma. Watch out for him. No, SG still hanging tough, it looks like. Let's see what Jin's been doing as of lately. Popular rider out on course here. 3-time gold medalist rower. Coming out of Australia there, Zada approved, 420-watt FTP, 4 laps out on the WBR race, it looks like. Took a W with step-by-step race with Namden on the 6th, got a 4th. Won the Euro Decaf, won the KISS 2-kilometer sprints, as well as a whole bunch of other races. This guy's got a bunch of wins, 44 races out on Zwift, out of Australia. Drew Jin, watch out for him. Where did he go now? Now, hopefully he's still in here, as we're saying watch out for him. Somehow we're back with Bestwick and the rest of these boys. We're going to have to find our way back to the front, as somehow we got turned around. There they are. We're back at the front of the race now. 2 laps to go, I believe. 2 laps to go out on course. 3-mile course out here today. So 4 down, 2 to go of the 6 laps total. And we're looking at Dorna here attacking off the front with Lees. They got a little bit of a gap here, but the riders, again, you can see the tactics here as they sit in and wait for the riders at the front to do the work, keep the pace high enough. And as long as somebody at the front is doing at least the pace of the riders who are trying to go off the front or got the break, they most likely will bring them back into the fold. 35 miles per hour here coming from this front group. They're absolutely flying out on course today. As you can do see, SG there still making his way toward the front. Tozer is there as well. A few arrow power-ups being thrown down. Interesting. Somebody might be suffering there using that drafting power-up, actually, as they're about to come around the corner. One of the options that are here is to try and get away around the corner here. There is actually somebody falling off pace. That's interesting, as I was not expecting to see that, actually. We do see Spocker here. The Spocker... let's see if he can get back with this group. 5.1 watts per kilogram, 169 beats per minute. Watch out for this. What does Spocker max out at is going to be the question. Looking through the results, it looks like Spocker It's put out a solid 3.9 watts per kilogram. Weighing in at 94s. Ooh-wee, 385 FTP. United Kingdom here won the WBR 4-lap flat. Won the XRS ZTR Thursday night training race. Won the XRS Crit road race back on June 11th. Watch out for Spocker. This boy can go. And we are seeing a max heart rate of 179 from him. So he is on the rivet, though, right now. Definitely in a spot of bother. He may just barely get back on terms here with the Taiwanese rider, but he is at the back and 10 beats away from the max that we've ever seen from him. So going to be a rough day here, it looks like, if he doesn't close this down. Now 166, trying to rest up, but the other riders around him are not closing the gap. It's out by 1 second. It is a race of meters at all times out here. He's seeing only 3.6 ahead of him, but it's not enough to hold on to it. 30 miles per hour here, 28 from these riders. They're going away, and that will disappear quickly as we do see the attacks there on the front. They are up and out of the saddle, trying to burn a few matches from the riders out there in the race before they even hit the uphill for a lap and a half to go. It'll be 1 lap to go before when they hit the finish line, the lap out here today for this next lap. And with Dorna here, 4.4 watts per kilogram, Lee now 6.2 with a 1 second gap though to the rest of the riders. And if they're not within 5 meters, they most definitely will not be able to hang on to the wheel and get a draft from those riders around them. In the C category race, they are about to be lapped, actually. They're just a little ways back from them. We're looking at Stop Whining right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that race real quickly as it is heating up through the square in just a moment here. And you can see through the hall here, it is going to be Whining, 5.1 watts per kilogram. Rory there as well. Then we do see Martin and then Ray Dondo, 16.2 miles in. They'll have 2 laps to go after this lap. 6.8 watts per kilogram, though, coming from a rider up toward the front. W. Zaster's there with Liam Bruggen, though. The junior rider on the Go-Go Power Rangers just spinning it to winning it, and it looks like Zaster's just hanging on that wheel, getting a ride there from the junior. Looking over his shoulder, though. 189 beats per minute. This boy can beat like a butterfly, it looks like now. And it looks like it's stinging like a bee, as well as a few riders are having trouble on the back there to hang on. Williams looking tough here at 180 beats per minute. All these riders, you know, the watts might be a little lower here, but they are most definitely putting out a crazy effort there. Stop Whining 157. Innovation here with Valencia 150. Porter is there just hanging out for a little while. Maybe going to finish in a little while or not, saying that's enough. Not worth the ticket for the Wahoo there. Florentino at the front, 180 beats per minute. We'll see if he can hang on at such a high heart rate there. Not sure it's going to happen. And Rogers is saying, I'm saying Rooney wins. All right, we'll see what happens here. Big Mac D saying rowers always make great cyclists. I would make the case that I don't prove that. I love it, Rogers. Nice. Tobin's in the house over at Zwift Community Live's Twitch saying, this is why I use my trainer in the middle of the night. And now we're heading on over to the social media integration as well. We'll see if anybody's chatting over at the Twitch or the Facebook. Nobody just yet, but if you would like to send any pictures or comments on way, you can do so, and we will make sure to integrate them into the broadcast. All right, back in with the A category. We do have a few attacks actually taking place through the 1 kilometer to go banner. They will have 1 lap to go, though, here in just a moment. And up at the front of the race, we do see an attack that did take place up through the hall, and it is going to be a 1 second gap with P. Shaw as well as SG. Still not going anywhere just yet. Riders hanging on, and the sprinters are just licking their chops at this point, just waiting for that final lap. They're going to try and hang in to those wheels, get pulled up right to the line, and kick in the last 500 meters or so. SG now 4.9 watts per kilogram. Nobody really able to fully rest, though, as the watts have been super high actually all the way through after this. They're trying to keep the pace really high. I wonder if there's a few off the back that might be favorites out here today. Looking down, I'm not seeing anybody too far there, but maybe a couple. Actually, this has been split up. This was a much larger group just a moment ago, so perhaps there are 1 or 2 struggling to hang on after that climb. And we are seeing, it looks like 12 seconds back there, 13 seconds back, 20.5. Yep, there is definitely Tolhurst, looks like, as well as Fonseca. We're seeing, it looks like the Spocker 109 back. So they have dropped a few, not quite enough to be super comfortable just yet. Gonna be 1 mile, gonna be 1 lap to go, 1 lap to go. And they're actually attacking into the 1 lap to go bell lap here, 200-meter marker here. Maybe Lees thinks this is it on the Go-Go Power Rangers. Can he win it outright? That's the question. There are no rules that I know of on the Tour de Oz. I'd have to take a look and see if any of the rules have been put into ZwiftPower.com. I don't think that they have. And I don't think there are any rules as far as Z-Power goes. We'll have to take a double check here. I know they're not. It's all for fun. And it looks like 3 Zwifters who complete all 10 stages will be picked at random to win the following Wahoo prizes. So if you're wondering what the prizes are and you want to get involved in the racing, in order to do these, well, you'd have to do the first 2 for sure, but they are giving away 1 Wahoo kicker, 1 Wahoo snap, as well as a Wahoo element bolt, actually. So pretty sweet prizes to get at, and that's what these boys and girls are all riding for actually right now, is to get that ticket in, as well as the win here today. Looks like as well the first annual, so let's just read through it here real quick. The first annual Wahoo Tour de Oz is a 10-stage event open to all Zwifters, featuring a mix of flat, hilly, and mountain stages. And so they're also trying to make the stages similar to that which is in the tour actually currently going on. So if there's a mountain stage, they're going to go to the mountains. If there's flats, they're going to go to flats, etc. Hilly, go to a hillier stage, etc. So challenge yourself and compete against others, yourself and the clock. Results will be displayed when cross the finish line. Complete all 10 stages and you are eligible to win prizes. So we do see Lee's now kicking it off the front here, looking for the final lap attack. They're about to catch actually the lead group in the C category. That'll be interesting as they move through them. When they do move through that lead group in the C category, it's actually going to cause a ton of mayhem in this group, because making your way through there, sometimes riders will have difficulty finding the wheel that they want to draft through, just like in real life actually, as you kick through any kind of group like that, and they catch these riders going slower. It's going to cause mayhem in this group, and they're catching right at that point where we were seeing riders actually fall off because of attacks through here. Now the Power Ranger has been caught, it looks like, and now it looks like another one going off the front. It is KP from the WBR team coming out of Belgium with half a lap to go, 31 miles per hour now with a little bit of a gap. Looking at the rider here, it is 8 meters. Nobody's got to draft him at this point. Dorna's trying to follow, but not really able to do so, as we can see here. But the gap is not really going anywhere. 6 watts per kilogram coming from SG. Just kind of kicks it up a little bit. Now into 6.9. Is it going to go somewhere? He's got a gap on Creel. Creel's been very smart, though, it looks like, this entire race. Following wheels, knowing that he's got a kick just like he did on, I believe it was Friday morning, Saturday night, I think, in Australia, or Saturday morning in Australia. And it looks like Creel did close it down. We'll see if he can make a repeat here for the land down under. SG might have something to say about that as he kicks off the front there. KP there again attacking. He keeps throwing out the matches here, burning one by one. Does not want a sprint finish. He wants to go off the front and break things up here, as it is still a huge pack. They have dropped a few though in this final lap. Creel's still there. Jin is still there. Leonard is there. Rooney is there. Rooney is the pick there for Rogers over in the Mixer channel. We do see Shaw, Jin, and Bun is in there as well. Rider I haven't been paying any attention to just yet, but or one that I'm even familiar with. But coming out of New Zealand there, watch out for him, I think, as he's been fairly calm this entire time. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of aero power-ups being blown through the final few corners here out on Zwift here in just a second. Just tuning in, this is a massive multiplayer online game called Zwift. Riders are making their way into the final here. They are actually on real bikes, controlling these avatars by actually pedaling with real power. The power you see up above us here, 280 watts coming from Bun out of New Zealand. Australia also represented in mass, but now kicking at the front will be Van Spinach right along with Creel. They're able to follow up actually anything that might be happening. Now, this is one of the worst times actually to come through the lap traffic. Actually, they're just catching the front end of the C's, who are going to have one lap to go. Actually, they're lapping right on through them, and if they kick hard enough through here, a few riders will be lost. SG, seeing the moment that he may be able to make this happen, goes with Turksma off the front now. You can see them pushing right on through those C riders. A few C riders throwing some arrow power-ups to try and get back on terms with the riders who kick it through. Looks like he's got a little bit of a gap there, looking over the shoulder. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? SG right along with Turksma, almost on the wheel, but doesn't have the draft now. Out of the Netherlands, USA and the Netherlands going to have some upset for the land down under at this point, right along with Brazil trying to get with it. It looks like Jin, though, sitting on the wheel, the rower who's got a lot of awesome results actually in Zwift. It's only 1 or 2 seconds. Nobody going anywhere just yet. It's going to be just 1K to go. 1K to go, 1,000 meters, just a moment. When they come around this corner, you can see the red banner there. That is the 1K to go marker, and then it's going to be Grupo Compacto, and who's going to do the lead out, who's going to ramp it up at that point. We may see a few C riders actually jump on with this group in order to grab onto the wheel and try and get a break actually amongst these other riders. Let's go ahead and see here real quick if that's happening, and then we'll come right back to the front end of the A's. I am moving forward here and do see a few riders getting a little bit of advantage here actually as we go to the C category race. Haywood, they're able to hang on right along with Lienbruggen, and it looks like these riders are jumping on for the train. T-Steer is right in the middle of it all here from the C category race, so most definitely a little bit of advantage to these riders. Let's get right back into the action at the front end of the A's as they are starting to ramp this up. It looks like Jin here, 4.1 watts per kilogram in a very solid position. It looks like now the Taiwanese rider makes his way to the front. SG there as well. A very early power up though coming from SG with that arrow power up, following with Leonard. But they're doing the smart move here, I think. An early power up use here is not the worst thing in the world actually out on Zwift with a long drawn out sprint, because a lot of times the kicks are not quite as fast as you can get in real life. We are seeing 14 watts per kilogram from a few riders coming from behind here. Shaw now really ramping up with 300 meters, but I think these boys may have gone early enough. No, Shaw is just absolutely flying. There goes Shaw. He's got 11 watts per kilogram, but then right over his shoulder comes Turksma. Turksma just nips him at the line, followed by Creel, who will take third actually. Shaw just barely hangs on the second as Creel is coming on. So first goes the Turksma out of the Netherlands. The big man comes on through there with a huge sprint right at the last moment. Actually, very intelligent sprint there coming from Turksma, followed up by Shaw, who just barely held off the winner of the first stage, who was Jeffrey Creel coming from Vision Cycling, also out of Australia. Solid ride there, though, coming out of the Netherlands there for Turksma. What a huge effort now. Let's get back in with the C riders as they're just starting up their last lap. We saw these riders grab on to the group as they come through. I wonder if whining is whining or not, as those riders totally jumped on the A category and then went ahead and took off on the rest of the group here. I wonder if he's going to stop whining or if that's not going to happen. 6.2 watts per kilogram. These front runners might be whining about the power that they're seeing, though, at this point. We do see Haywood still off the front there, 21.3, still a little more than a half a lap to go. Can he hold on to this gap? It is 14 meters, and he's going for the solo TT off the front at this point. Not sure it's going to happen, though. We'll see how this plays out here amongst the C category riders. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, A, C, B, D, so a lot of times in these races, Zwift will have set up, and the race organizers, who are almost always community organizers, Zwift actually organized these races, but community organizers or Zwift will set it up so that everybody has somebody to race against. So A, B, C, and D category riders all can hold a different watts per kilogram or a different power ratio. In the right-hand side of the screen, you can see 3.4, 3.2 watts per kilogram next to Haywood's name. That's how many watts per kilogram of weight on his body that he's holding. So if you divide the watts up above me that you see that he's putting out by how much he weighs in kilograms, you can actually tell what his watts per kilogram are moment by moment. Now, if you do an FTP test, it's your functional threshold power test, what you can do for 1 hour straight, full on power for 1 hour straight. What can you hold? You can do a 20-minute test. There's a couple other tests that you can do in order to figure out what your FTP is, and then you can divide that or multiply it by like 0.95. Some argue about that, blah blah blah. What's your FTP? And they want to flex about them having a bigger FTP or not, essentially. But once you get the FTP test done and you know what your FTP is, you can then divide that wattage by how much you weigh in kilograms, and you'll get a ratio, and that's your FTP ratio. If you are an A category rider, that means you can do 4.0 watts per kilogram or higher for your functional threshold power. For a B category, it is going to be 3.2 to 4.0. In the C category, this category you're seeing here, the assumption is going to be 2.5 to 3.2. The D category riders will be 2.5 or less. So when you jump into a race out on Zwift, you know that you have somebody to race against at any time whatsoever. Those are all very broad, very, very broad levels of ability, actually. So there's also not just races. There's events that go on every single day. There's group rides that have different watts per kilogram. ZZRC is a great example. They have like a 1.5 watt per kilogram ride. Pace, not race, is their whole idea. They've also, I mean, there's lots and lots of rides out there. There's rides that assume we're going to hold 4.0 the whole time with kicks in it, right? And then there's other ones that are like 3.0 or not, you know, and so all different levels, different group rides, different events that you can jump into out on Zwift with those levels. It looks like Premixed Stream is in here asking lots of questions. I'll definitely try and answer them as much as I can, I believe. There's a lot of questions coming through, actually. And if you have any, please let us know. We'll answer as many as we can as we get through the broadcast. Premixed, good to see you over at the Mixer channel. Thanks for tuning in this Monday morning. All right, heading into the last few K here out on course for the C category. 150 racers out on course here for the C category. This is a massive multiplayer online game called Zwift. These riders are actually pedaling, hammering away to pedal these avatars forward. If you want to see exactly what Zwift is all about, we'll be running a promo video here in just a moment to give you an idea of what this game looks like in its interaction between the pedaling and the avatars here. But right now, these boys are racing for the win in the second stage of the Tour de Oz here. And Liam Bruggen now has 5.5 watts per kilogram to give with Haywood there and Ledge from the Aussie Hump Day Ride team right now out of New Zealand. The Kiwi now has a little bit of a gap on the rest of the riders falling off the back here. We do have Mav Wrangle here, Wranglos, now out of Australia, able to hold on. But as you see them straighten out in that straight line, since there is drafting in the game, they're just trying to hold on to that wheel that's right in front of them. If they're not coming around the avatar, their power's not great enough to do that. Nobody also is resting the pedal stroke whatsoever. Everybody's given everything they got. 12 seconds immediately opened up to Klemper, Castle, and Norquay right in the dust off the back. They are the next one to fall off. Liam Bruggen now kicking it again. 5.6, 187 beats per minute on that Go Power Rangers. The junior is showing us that he has got the power and the spin to win. 90 RPMs though, 186 though. This guy can beat like a butterfly. I wonder if Stop Whining is whining about the Go Power Ranger though at this point here. Ledge now up at the front, 3.9 watts per kilogram. They're gonna have 1K to go in just a moment. Is it bad that I need a video game like this to actually get me cycling? Not whatsoever. I have to almost do all my training in Zwift, actually. I race at an extremely high level, actually, as a professional cyclist, and because I can only ride at night or, you know, all different types of time constraints, most of my training is done on Zwift. So not at all. And if this is what motivates you, heck yeah. That's amazing. That's awesome. Putting, you know, there's a model coming from the CVR, actually, the Cyclogent Virtual Racing, actually. They put on some World Cups and stuff. Putting the sport in esport is what this is all about. And it's just the next step in the world of gaming, for sure. Being able to interact. How long have we wanted something like this for? How long, when I first started playing Mario and all these other things, how cool would I be if I could be Mario and put my actual effort, my physical effort into it? And since I was a little kid, I've been thinking about having something like this. And so now that you can actually cycle, cycling makes the most sense, I think, to be the first one into the space. But they got running already. We're gonna have running later today with Casey Shum, actually, out on Zwift, actually, on Zwift Community Live. Make sure to hit us a follow button and watch out for that, because he's gonna demo running for all you boys. But here we go. No more running now. It's all about the sprinting for the cycling. And here comes the sprint for the C category. Haywood now 5.2 watts per kilogram up to the front, but Leenberger, the junior, is going to spin to win maybe on the Go-Go Power Rangers here. Looking over the shoulders, though. What's the arrow power up at? And there it is, one being blown by G. Ahoy now, who is going to take it, though, up toward the front. It looks like Leenberger has 10 watts per kilogram, 11 watts per kilogram. Now it is going to be Haywood, though, still hanging up. It is going to be G. Ahoy, though, on the front. Will he get nipped at the land? It's just 50 meters, and now here comes one more power up, though, and it will be Easter Gassman, then G. Ahoy. I believe that was the finishing order. It was so close, just meters, but the sprint definitely, I believe, went to Ahoy, who timed it just perfectly, actually, in order to grab that win. 184 beats per minute to make that happen. Absolutely killing it. Nice job to G. Hoy. And X Kratos says, or I'm going to say Kratos is over there saying, yeah, it's a lot more convenient. Plus, you don't have to worry about being hit by cars. And that is actually one of the big motivations, actually, for a lot of the people who are doing Zwift. So that is going to be it for the broadcast, at least of the races. I'm going to hang around and take some questions, though. I'm going to run a quick little idea of what's going on with Zwift. Some of you might be tuning in like, what is it? A lot of times I get this question, what are you playing? Hey, what are you playing right now? And they don't know that I'm actually not playing the game. They think I'm like messing around, like playing virtual cycling tour, like the whatever the Tour de France game is and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not playing anything. I'm talking about these guys playing the game. It's a lot of fun, actually, whenever that happens. Wii Fit was the very first version of physical training in game. Yep, for sure, e-motivation. Vibroid, good to see you there. Ash, thanks a lot for joining in. How's it going, Adam Waston? All right, here you go. Here is What is Zwift? Great little promo that Zwift has put together. That was one of their first videos to go out. And it looks like I don't like that. It's not giving me a nice captions, but that's okay. We'll deal with that later. Still, the first time using the captions, they're working pretty well. being the first time having them come through here. Now it's just a little bit wacky though. I'll see if I can fix it real quickly, but definitely the Zwift, that promo is showing exactly what is going on with the physical interaction with the game and the power being put into those pedals and actually moving those avatars forward. You could see in that interaction between Eric Min, who was the guy in that video, and the girls who were racing up that KOM. They were actually racing each other with that power that they were putting into the pedals up and over the top of the KOM climb, actually. If anybody's got any questions, speak now. This is the time to do it. I'm going to run a couple more promos. I'm not going to go anywhere just yet. I got a couple of things to set up. I'm going to be streaming on my personal channel here in just a minute. And I will leave this running for a few of the group rides that are out on Zwift that you can join, as well as the Zwift Academy. And I'll come back if there are any more questions that do come through here in a minute or two. So stick around, and I will let you guys know all that's going on for the week, though, for Zwift Community Live, as well as other things happening this week. Why are you not sleeping? A Motivation says. I'm on all kinds of crazy schedule for Zwift Community Live. We serve 3 time zones, E-Motivation, so I sleep at all kinds of crazy times. That's a great question, but that is most of the Zwift world is used to that. Nathan and sleeping schedules are all over the place. I tend to not really be all that interested anyways in what the social pressures, I guess, around are for that. Never have been. All right, here you go. I'm going to have to skip through a little bit of this, but here is the ZA and what that is all about. Zwift Academy, absolutely
Last year,
awesome.
Zwift Academy opened its doors, launching a groundbreaking worldwide talent search to find the next pro rider for Canyon SRAM racing. The competition exceeded all expectation. Over 1,200 women from 51 countries signed up to take the challenge in Zwift. In a truly grand finale, on the island of Majorca at Canyon SRAM's training camp, Leah Thorvaldsen of Little Rock, Arkansas, was crowned 2016 Zwift Academy champion and the newest member of Canyon SRAM Racing. This year, it could be you.
Oh wow, I could have a shot at a pro contract, but it's for anyone. It's a huge step forward in your own fitness, and so it's not all just about the one person who's going to get a pro contract. It's a win for everyone who's involved.
Zwift Academy is this great program where Zwift is trying to get the women more involved. It's just this huge, to me, a great community. There's women coming up going, I get how this could fit into my life.
What I think is so nice about Zwift Academy, I really think that it was inspiring lots of women to take part in this adventure. Maybe they've gone far beyond their own expectations.
How far I got in Zwift, there were 1,200 females that joined, and there were 100 females that finished Zwift, and I can't believe I was one of them.
Yes, it's hard, but come on, you can do it, you know, just do your best. Because it's not just the physical side, it's the determination and to boost your confidence in anything else you do, not just cycling.
Find out how strong you really are. Find new friends from around the world. Find out if you have what it takes to go pro.
Do not wait, just follow your dreams.
Be the best cyclist you can be. Head over to academy.zwift.com to find out more and sign up today.
There we go. What's up, Patrick? So this is a massive multiplayer online game in which you actually bike in. And these are real people all out on Zwift right now that are actually riding in the WSR ride. This is actually a great ride for all the mixer people who are tuning in. Actually, it looks like we got about 100 or so plus riders actually hanging out right now. Riders, viewers hanging out over at the Mixer channel. And P Booth here out of Australia, go ahead and give him a ride on, is actually in the World Social Ride, which is actually a ride that's all about hanging out with other riders at a slower pace, that is all about pacing the ride rather than racing the ride. We did just broadcast the the second stage of the Tour de Oz, actually, which was a full-on race with all the way from elite all the way to beginner cyclists who are probably out there still hammering away to finish up so that they can get their ticket punched to complete all 10 stages and get a chance to win 3 prizes that are being thrown out by Wahoo Fitness. But as you can see here, the WSR ride is out there doing a great job of pacing a bunch of riders. Actually, there's a lot of, is this actually the World Social Ride, or is there another team? See, I saw so many women amongst us. I thought maybe I'd screwed up and said something incorrectly, and maybe it was a women's ride. But it does look like with a few other riders going off the front here, I do see a few men's avatars actually riding along here. So Rawson here, Harris, Selway, all amongst the group here. And there is drafting in game, as you can see here, as they draft on each other. 119 beats per minute, 109 watts there coming from Harris D. Clark as well, hanging out. HDR in the name from the Aussie Hump Day ride. So Patrick Wombo, that is what is going on here for this game. Just want to make sure I answered all the questions. If anybody's got any more, make sure to bring them our way. Otherwise, we'll most likely be finishing the broadcast up here in just a moment. Solid ride. Congratulations to all the riders out there. Later today, for those of you who do not know, there is running in Zwift, and we will be featuring a running event, actually. Well, not an event, but a running stream, actually, with one of our streamers from Team Experimental, Casey Shum. And you can hook up to the game as well through using foot pods, actually, that will track your power or speed, actually, in the game by running. I haven't seen any runners out on course just yet, but you most definitely can do so. I believe you can do so through the iOS, so it's also available on iOS. It is coming to Android soon, as well as available on PC and Mac. So definitely watch out for those if you want to get involved in riding out on Zwift or running. There are also, I hear rowing as well is on its way too, so watch out for that. All right, we're going to check real quick a few more questions, and then I think we may be done for the day. 10 kilometers of running, so Community Live says, yep, he's going to be killing it today, so it's going to be solid stream. If you ever want to check out what our schedule is, head on over to ZwiftCommunityLive.com, ZwiftCommunityLive.com, and you can see our full schedule for the week. We also have a Facebook page where we pin our schedule at all times. BJ Alfonso says, what? Missed the race? Race not at night. No, it was, you got to double check your Zwift mobile link, bud. It's in the Zwift mobile link. Oh man, BJ. Sorry to hear that you missed the race, dude. Now not going to be in the drawings. I'm sorry to hear that, BJ. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will be back later tonight. I'm going to go head on over to my channel here. How's it going, Proj Catterley? I think it is, over at the Beam channel. Good to have you here, bud. Excuse me, Mixer channel. I've been doing that for so long. I've been around. I'm old school. I got a Beam hoodie. I got Beam, all the Beam stuff for so long. And now it's Mixer. I always mix it up now. What's going on? The Thuy Sun 4276772 4279168. Thuy Sun, how's it going? I'm gonna just call you Sunny. How's it going, Sunny? And it said Sunny two different ways there. Did you see that? Now, how do I need to say it to get to say oh and not you? It's interesting. Pro JC Catterlee. Boom. What phone? I love this thing sometimes and hate this thing sometimes. I mostly love it. All right, we're going to be done. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. If you'd like to, I'm going to give you guys a quick little shout out to myself because this is my space. So I can do that. But I'm going to head on over to my channel, I think, here in a little bit. If you want to keep chatting all things Zwift, maybe Eve, maybe Overwatch, who knows what. But thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will see you later tonight for that run out on Zwift. Cheers.